So let's move ahead. So we just did the debriefing, and I think I attended one of the questions. Who that person was, I don't know. So next time when you speak or ask question, it will help if you can just pronounce your name first. So this slide titles, as you can read, it is, there are some presuppositions around decision making. Uh, uh, First of all, Uh, so, in my reference reading material, I tried to make differentiation between what is reaction and what is decision making. 90% of the time in our life and business, we are busy reacting to the situation. So as the life or, the situations we come across those, we normally respond to those situations. We try to attend those, but that's not decision. There is, decision making is always about, taking some actions or picking an alternative which is making our future situation favorable to us, because we are all growth hungry people. Growth is something which is naturally which naturally comes to us. So uh, we want to make our future situations favorable. So decision making is all about that. So in decision making, it is objective which is established first, that this is something that we want or we need to happen, or this is something that we want to attend. This is also different from problem solving. In problem solving and decision making, the major difference is, in problem solving, generally problems are arising out of deviations that we see against the set performance standards, or something that we are expecting to happen, it does not happen, it deviates from there, and it kind of creates a problem for us. So problem solving has a slightly different process and method through which we address and we go down that path. Whereas decision making, you are establishing the objective first, and then you are going about it. So this is first presupposition about the decision making. Then the decisions are not anything or any outcome per se. It is purely the set of actions that we decide. It's basically choosing. When we say choosing the best alternate, those alternates are basically sets of actions. So once you start taking actions, you will see a progress, and you will probably go and traverse towards the destination or the goal that you wanted to achieve. Many a times decisions are influenced by our values and our beliefs. Our values are nothing but in India we say sanskar. Our values that we have inherited from our family, from our friends, from our peer groups. And in lot of decision making that we do related to our life and also in our business are influenced by the values. And many a times we have beliefs are nothing but something that we have concluded that it's there, or even though we have not seen it. For example, none of us have seen God, but we believe that there is a God. भूत भी हमने नहीं देखा है, but we believe that there is something called bhoot. So belief is something that we believe in, which we have not which we have not experienced, we have not seen. It's not there in our experience, but those things also influence our decisions. Now, getting influenced by values and belief is absolutely fine. It's nothing wrong about it, as long as you have chosen the right values, and from time to time you have corrected your belief. Belief is something which has an impulse scope of correcting as you progress in your life and business. So please understand that decisions always will have some degree of influence in from your values and belief, but at the same time there is absolutely nothing wrong about it. Then it's not always possible to choose the best alternate. Decision making is about out of two or more alternates available to us, idea is to choose the best alternate. But many a times we do not have a possibility of choosing the best alternate, probably because of financial reasons, probably because of our lots of inborn inability or capability issues. Sometimes we are too constrained about our infrastructure or resources. Maybe the circumstances are not favorable for us to choose the best option, and that is okay. We are discussing the presupposition of decision making. What I am highlighting here is that it's not always possible to choose best alternate, but then go to the better than the best, or the next best alternate, not the better than the best, but the next best available option, and that is also perfectly all right, as long as you have perfectly evaluated and carefully analyzed the situation. Then more the constraints in decision making, and especially in major decision making, there are always constraints. uh, there are more constraints, and more the constraints that you have, it will of course make your decision making process much harder. You will find it very very difficult to come to a conclusion very easily, and then the whole process sometimes take a lot of time, and it makes it little complicated. Another and last presupposition about decision making is, uh, in the middle of execution, you realize that probably you are not proceeding in the path of what you wanted to achieve. In such situation, you have two choices to make. Either you make your own decision. If you have read my reference material, I think there was a final note where I have said, trust your own decision and then make it work. I think Ratan Tata also had said one beautiful quote about it, that he doesn't take right decisions. He takes the decision and makes it right. Of course, it's not always possible. As a quote, it's fantastic, very strong, motivating quote. But many a times it is important that you make your own decision. There is no point in going back and forth about your decision or doubting your own decision. If you think that just making your decision probably is going to take you down the drains, then think about being flexible and make necessary changes, not necessarily winding up the decision, because winding up is also a decision. Like somebody said at the beginning, not taking decision is also a decision. But be flexible about your approaches and make necessary changes. So those are the presuppositions that you must keep in mind. These are bound to happen, and decision making is all about this. We'll now get into the next section, which is breakout session 2. You still remember the first breakout session where we had considered a startup idea. We are still sticking to that idea. Now you have decided, after all the considerations, you have decided that yes, you want to start the business. Why? Because you have considered all the financials, you have some 10 lakhs of savings of your own. Besides that, you also have a contingency fund for your family for 2 years. Okay, so that can keep your family running, so you can basically take care of your domestic expenses, including your parents and kids. So that much amount you have in contingency fund, plus you have additional 10 lakhs with you, and you have decided it's good to go and I want to start the business. Now, in the next breakout, when Soumitra sir, breaks us out again, uh, what you need to consider is, you need to take some key decisions that you will take for successful launch and reasonable acceptance in the market. In the last slide, we discussed about objectives of the decision. So here I am setting an objective for you. The objective is a successful launch and reasonable acceptance in the market. Keeping these two objectives in mind, please list out which all key decisions you will take. 10 right now, so I think we should be able to do it, no problem. 7 minutes.
Okay, fine, no problem.
But when you come back, when everybody comes back, please be very crisp about the key decisions. You don't have to explain the reasoning and the long story behind the decision taking. Just explain what decisions you will take.
Okay, sir. I'm opening the rooms.
Yeah. Soumitra sir, if you can confirm. Okay. Yes. All right. So I was part of one group where I just mentioned to the leader who is about to speak now. I think that was group number 1. But I think it's also an instruction to everybody. Whatever you have decided as a group, I would like to convert your topics into a decision statements. For example, in our group, procurement came up as a topic, but procurement is just a topic. We are going to do this shampoo business, or whether okay. Yeah. So I think since we have already everybody back in the main room, I'll repeat myself. You were all sent into different groups. Probably you have talked about lots of different topics, like whether to set up our own factory, what do we do about the procurement, how do we handle our finance, what do we do about manpower. These are different topics or functions, you can say, per se. But what you need to, when you are asked to represent your group, please convert those topics into a definite decision statements. That's what we would like to hear from you. That And don't bother about right or wrong. Don't bother whether it is a silly decision statement or it's a fantastic, very strong decision statement. There is nothing right or wrong about it. But I want you to understand what decision statement really means, because we just don't have to beat around the bush and okay, procurement ke liye ye karna padega and we do this for that. No, take a firm decision and just state that, and be very crisp. Okay. So let's say group one. Start with Pankaj ji.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the decisions we are taking is the first decision is that we will be procuring good quality materials and then packaging it instead of manufacturing it. The second decision we took is hiring a digital marketing agency to launch the product successfully because we will need a social media existence. And the third decision we took is we will have a biodegradable packaging so that so basically we the people would know that we are also environmentally safe company.
Great. And who were all there in your group, your contributors?
So we had Anita madam, Anjali madam, and Viral Shah.
Viral Shah. Okay, great. Okay. Group number two, who is representing it? Group number two.
Forgot what our group number was, Biman ji. This is Deepak Dodia here.
Deepak ji, if you are representing your group, please go ahead.
Yeah. In order for successful launch and reasonable acceptance, we basically came up with 10 items that we need to make decisions on, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So the slogan, the brand marketing, and the target market for launch, the packaging, the pricing.
What are your decision statements?
We don't have a decision statement, actually. We just said we need to identify the target customer. We will outsource. Our decision model was we will outsource the production, and we will identify, we will highlight the ingredients and the end results in our marketing and sales campaign.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's it.
All right. Okay. Next group.
Group number. This is Sandhya Velankar. I will start.
Yes, please.
My group contained Avinash sir, Mahesh sir, Chennai, and admin.
Okay.
And myself. Basically, for successful launch, we decided we need to decide on product range and the pricing of it, and advertising it to the correct audience should be targeted. Then we have to decide on supply chain management, how we are, and their margins and everything. So how we are going to basically distribute the whole thing and decide on the channel partners and everything. Then we have to decide on endorsement for the advertisements. Again, we have to decide on promotional ads and the cost for the same, and focus on the target segment, target customer audience, and where to exactly launch. I mean, to start the launch, where should we target
Geography.
that? It will depend. Yeah, it will depend on the target audience. So
Great.
That's what we decided.
Fantastic. Very crisp. Thank you so much, Sandhya ji.
Thank you.
We also thought of customer poll before the launch.
Sorry, forgot that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And maybe some freebies during the launch, like cotton bags.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry, forgot that.
Yeah, great. Very nice, very innovative. Thank you. Next group.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Girish. Okay. We decided, we decided to take the final calls on the business strategy, do some legwork. After finalizing the demography, the cost, and the marketing options. So, and we are also decided to give some sales training to the sales executive or the person who will be going out in the market. Sales speech. That's it.
Okay.
They will.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So that they will talk the perfect thing to the counters actually, and by other marketing media, we can generate the requirement in the market, and at the counter the product is available for the particular demographic. This is what we have decided.
So we basically decided to select Pune as area with 2 marketing people who will actually be trained what to talk and how to promote. So that will give us a feel what's the penetration at least in a local market with online and offline launch of the product, and also social media marketing for the same to support the sales.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I've just taken the notes of various things that different leaders of the groups have mentioned. I think now you are bang on. Earlier breakout session when we did, I think there was a confusion between considerations and decision making. But now I think a lot of people have come out with wonderful, well-crafted, crisp decision statements. I'll just read out few of them. Like just now you mentioned that geography as Pune is selected, so you have to make a decision about geography or territory where you want to launch your product, because the objective of these particular breakout session was very clear. It was all about successful launch and reasonable acceptance in the market. So you have to bother about geography, the type of customer that you want to address. So whether you will be addressing middle class segment, or the rich class, or the poor class, or all classes, that can also be a very clear and crisp decision statement. The sizes and volumes, the packaging size. So whether you will be putting up some sachets, like small quantities, or 100 ml, 200 ml, the type of bottles that you will use to package your shampoo, stuff like that. So that is also one crisp decision statement can be made out of it. Manufacturing में अगर देखा जाए तो whether you will be manufacturing on your own, or you will start with a job work with a great associate. Likewise, you can also choose your vendors, the people who are going to support your business. Like marketing के लिए किसी ने बोला, some people are in favor of hiring their own marketing people. Again, nothing right or wrong about that decision, but that is something you need to consider. Then some people would like to resort to digital marketing, which is a new age marketing tool, and it is very cost effective. Soumitra sir, actually, I think most of you know about it. He can guide you a lot on that, but that's not the subject. The subject is that is also something where you can take a decision. You can think about your suppliers of your raw material, because for every product you need a raw material that is different than the vendors. So you make a differentiation between vendors and suppliers as well. So, and last but not the least is the budget consideration. You have about 10 lakhs rupees of savings. So how much of that you would like to spend on your successful launch? Sometimes this successful launch is called as an experiment, or it is also called as a pilot project, so that you are playing with a small amount. Let's say out of 10 lakhs you are playing with just 2 lakhs and trying to make mark in the market, because it's also about gaining the reasonable acceptance in the market. So decide on what budget you are going with and how much of that you will spend, and that also will depend on your risk appetite. We'll come to that also a little later. So these are the things that you definitely should consider and take decisions around this. And once you take decisions, at least for your test period or experiment period or a pilot period, you should stick with those, so that you do not deviate. Decision taking is one thing, but sticking to the decision and making your own decision, like we have discussed in the previous slide, is also very important. Anything else anybody would like to add?
Yeah,
we are good to go.
We were left. Ojas, I'm Ojas Gandhi.
Yes, Ojas.
We were with. I was with Mr. Gokhale, Mr. Nishant, and Mr. Jeet. We also discussed about the PR activities, because nowadays, as we all know, that the marketing has changed drastically. So PR activities, pricing, our USP. We were firstly in the business of trading. Other than that, the 4 P's we discussed, like product, place, price, and the people that are going to work with it. So these are the points that I did. Yeah, promotion.
Yeah, great.
These were the points that I wanted to add.
Yeah, and the key thing here is, if you have not exercised in your group discussion, the key thing here is convert those topics into decision statements. That this is what we are going to do, right?
Okay.
All right. So let's move on. Moving on to, so we just did the debriefing of breakout session. Now you are up to another case study. So I will read it out for you, because I think the font size is little smaller. I have something else coming up on this slide. That's why it is little smaller. Let me see, somebody is chatting. So the case study reads that you are a business development head. You can also consider alternatively that you probably is one of the key decision maker in the organization. Okay. You are a business development head in a service company. So the category or the type of business is service business. the type of service that your company offer are very niche, and therefore you always need specialists in your own workforce. So first thing, there are no contractual workforce. You need always specialists, and you have to have your own workforce because it's a niche area. Now the company has managed to steadily grow the business domestically and enjoying highest market share. So you are doing fantastically well. Domestic market mein aapka naam hai. You are number one. Though your company has recently started exploring international market because every company looks for growth. Now they are looking at international market. For past few weeks, you have received the interest from some large international clients. Remember, large international clients, but the operation department of your company indicated that they don't have adequate bandwidth. In other words, they are not able to satisfy those new interest or inquiry which is coming your way. Now you are business development head. Obviously, you will have certain targets. Management is expecting you to grow, and the company has also decided to start exploring international market. Market से interest भी आने लगा है because of your promotion or activity, marketing activity, and there is some interest generated. Now your weekly management review is scheduled for the next week, and you are about to attend that meeting. What you need to do in the breakout session, case study also will have a breakout, is this. You have to look at what decisions you will seek from the board members. Assume that there is a group of board members. There are 3 or 4 people in the board, and you are expecting decisions from there because you have a situation at hand. The situation, I'll repeat, that you have an increased interest from the international market, and they are large international clients. It is also in line with the growth, the vision, and the purpose of the company. So you have generated, as a business development head, you have kind of generated that interest, but operation department is constrained because they don't have adequate bandwidth. Then what alternatives you will present in support of the decision that you are looking for? First, you need to decide on what decisions that you are expecting from the board members, and then the alternatives that you will present in support of the decisions that you are looking for. And the last is, what constraints do you see upfront? One of the constraint is very much visible here, which is operation department indicating that they don't have adequate bandwidth, and what can be done about it. All right. So this is the case study. If you have any question right now, you can ask before we break out. Or is it clear to everybody? You can just put your question in the chat box. I'll wait for about a minute before we break out.
I'm not really sure about second part. What alternates you will present? I'm really not sure what exactly do you mean.
Yeah. So decision is always about picking the alternates, right? From 2 or more alternates. So you are seeking some decisions that you need to decide. You are seeking some decisions from the board member in support of the situation or in the current situation. And for those decisions, what are the alternatives that you can present to support the decisions that you are looking for? Is that clear? Not yet? Yes, no? Hello?
Not much. Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, see, you have understood the situation, right?
Right, I understood the situation.
You are a market leading company. You are into niche service area. You always need specialist workforce on your own. So no contractual workforce.
No, just give me one thing. Like, what alternates will you present in support of decision you're looking for? So you are looking for a particular decision. That's what you mean.
Yes.
And
First
if
of
that
all,
is not allowed, then you need to find out something else.
No alternate decisions. You are seeking the decision from board member in this current situation, because you have talked to the operation department and they have said we are constrained. Okay. Sorry, we cannot support this more work, so we cannot support the increased amount of work. So you have a situation here, right? It's a situation which demands a decision. Now, because you and your operation counterpart at the same level, so you can't really counter that. So you have to go to board and you are seeking some decision there. Now, in support of the decision, you have to present the alternates. Okay, operation department is constrained, but what all alternates are available?
What all we can do? Okay, got it.
And then, of course, you also have to put yourself into other person's shoe to understand what are the constraints we have at hand as a company. What all constraints are there, and what can be done about it?
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
What do you mean by bandwidth, Biman?
availability of resources.
Resources.
So in a way, they are fully utilized. The resources that you have within the organization, you are fully utilized, and you have no bandwidth available to entertain any more work.
Again, the same thing, 7 minutes and.
No, we'll limit it to only 5 minutes. For you, it's a massive growth opportunity, and you have never executed an order of this magnitude or of this scale. I hope the case is clear to you. You have a very prominent client which has received very one mega order, from their client, and that's why they are looking for higher quantities of supply, which is as good as. For you, it's a massive growth opportunity, and you have never executed an order of this magnitude or of this scale. I hope the case is clear to you. You have a very prominent client which has received very one mega order, from their client, and that's why they are looking for higher quantities of supply, which is as good as much as 10x than your normal monthly supply volume. They are ready to relax their payment term. On your hand, it's a massive opportunity, but you have never ever executed a project of this scale. And I think this is a practical scenario. Many a times businesses do face this kind of scenario. So what you need to work on when you go into breakout, you have to work on this. Will you decide to accept the order? If your answer is yes, as a group, which all immediate actions you will take? So decision, if it is yes, okay, we are not looking for any decision now. If the decision is yes, we are looking for what all actions you will need to take, because you have already said yes, you have committed. Which factors you will consider to make it possible, because you cannot afford to fail. You are in their list of, top in the list of preferred supplier. So you cannot afford to, to dent your reputation. And then what needs to be done in long term? Long term के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं? If you had said yes, okay. And the next question is, which is slightly opposite to this. What if you have gathered some information, and that data and evidence says that you are not capable to take this order. It is too risky for your size of company to take this big order, because you have never done this kind of project earlier. So that's a decision kind of negative. You are about to say no to the customer. Maybe you will politely handle that customer and politely regret also. But the question here is, how will you prepare your company for such future opportunity? List your decisions. Now here you have to list decisions. If it is clear, take screenshot of this as well. If you have done this, I will go to the previous screen. If somebody has missed to take the screenshot of this.
Biman sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I know the margins involved? Is the same margins we are getting in the same company orders as the others?
Assume that it is same margins. Yes.
Same margins. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question, but I think let's assume, for the sake of sticking to the topic.
Okay.
I will go to the next screen again and take a photo. And Soumitra sir, can you break us again? As much as 10x than your normal monthly supply volume. They are ready to relax their payment term. On your hand, it's a massive opportunity, but you have never ever executed a project of this scale. And I think this is a practical scenario. Many a times businesses do face this kind of scenario. So what you need to work on when you go into breakout, you have to work on this. Will you decide to accept the order? If your answer is yes, as a group, which all immediate actions you will take? So decision, if it is yes, okay, we are not looking for any decision now. If the decision is yes, we are looking for what all actions you will need to take, because you have already said yes, you have committed. Which factors you will consider to make it possible, because you cannot afford to fail. You are in their list of, top in the list of preferred supplier. So you cannot afford to, to dent your reputation. And then what needs to be done in long term? Long term के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं? If you had said yes, okay. And the next question is, which is slightly opposite to this. What if you have gathered some information, and that data and evidence says that you are not capable to take this order. It is too risky for your size of company to take this big order because you have never done this kind of project earlier. So that's a decision kind of negative. You are about to say no to the customer. Maybe you will politely handle that customer and politely regret also. But the question here is, how will you prepare your company for such future opportunity? List your decisions. Now here you have to list decisions. If it is clear, take screenshot of this as well. If you have done this, I will go to the previous screen. If somebody has missed to take the screenshot of this.
Biman sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I know the margins involved? Is the same margins we are getting in the same company orders as the others?
Assume that it is same margins. Yes.
Same margins. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question, but I think let's assume, for the sake of sticking to the topic.
Okay.
I will go to the next screen again and take a photo. And Soumitra sir, can you break us again?